everybody. Welcome to another fine episode of the Metal Block Podcast. We're happy to see you. Thanks for joining in. Go and like and subscribe and check out Brandon on the social media and see what he's posting. All kinds of good, fun stuff. You know, we're always happy to promote the bands and the new information, new news that's coming out, and it's always happening every day. There's new stuff every single day. So today, speaking of another episode, we're going to have some more fun today. We have a really, really special show, and we're going to get that kicked off. Tonight, we have Lecherous Nocturne with us, and we have Kreishloff, and he's going to be hanging with us tonight, and we're so excited to just be chilling and hearing what's going on with the band. These guys have been around for a while, so before I start talking too much about them, let's let him say what's up, talk about what he does with the group, and we'll get this show on the road.
What's up, guys? My name's Kreishloff. I play guitar with Lecherous Nocturne. I'm one of the founding members. I've been with the band since 1997, and we're still kicking. You know?
Hell yeah.
Super
97.
cool. Yeah, 1997.
Yeah.
You know, kind of some OGs, if you want to talk about it. Maybe not back to the very first wave of some death metal, but, you know, I'm not quite sure. This is where, you know, my knowledge really gets tested. I don't even know when technical death metal really became a thing.
Well, you know, you started to see a lot of it kind of percolating in like 97, 98 with like Whisper Supremacy and, you know, shit with the Gorguts albums and things of that nature. So I would like to say it probably became a thing in like 98, 99, where people were really focused on trying to be as technical as humanly possible, you know? So
that was going to be the timeline that I was going to guess, just because of when, you know, death metal kind of started there in the 90s and everything. You could even probably take it back even a little bit further than that if you wanted to get really super deep, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of part of the, at least it was, it's kind of like just part of the atmosphere with, death metal is always trying to outdo at least yourself, from the last album and your contemporaries, you know, it's fun competition, you know what I mean? Cause, you know, in my humble opinion, once you reach a level of, musicianship, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you can't really say, oh, that guy's the best or that's the best band or whatever. They're all on kind of a equal playing field on ability. It's just preference at that point, you know?
Different flavors.
Yeah.
I like
absolutely.
it.
You know, you brought up a cool point too, just because I've often said to myself, like, what's the point, you know, like in playing the game again if you won a Super Bowl already? Like, why even come back and need to play it again, right? But there's more to it than that, you know? And so even whenever you reach, like, I don't know, like that level that you're talking about, there's still more to music, right? There's always more to be written, always more to learn and create.
You never master it. You're always learning. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's hard to say, like, even in bands that don't represent a lot of technicality, those guys, there's shredders in all kinds of bands. They might not be showcasing it in that band, but shredders they are, right? So it's like, for me, if you are doing better than your last effort, then you're advancing not only as a player but as a solid band, you know. So that's always the effort. That's always the hope, is that, you know, you did something better than the last one.
Hell yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, with that, I couldn't think of a better way to transition into let's get to talking about the band and let's get to talking about the music and, you know, you and what you guys are up to. So, Brando,
Sure.
all yours, brother.
Yeah. So, Kreishloff, what's up, man?
What's up, bro?
let's get started with learning about you, man. What's your metal origin story? Like, how'd you get into metal music, and then from there, how'd you get into playing it?
Well, I started really young. My mom's like an old hippie, and we were dirt ass poor. So like, I'm from Minnesota, and really not much shit to do, So there was an acoustic guitar in the house, and her friends would come over, and I'd watch them hang out and like jam old Zeppelin songs and shit. You know what I mean? So I kind of got into like playing, just kind of like vicariously through her friends. But man, my buddy's brother was a mad hesher, bro. He like skated with the fucking boombox and shit. You know what I mean? Like over his shoulder. And dude, he came rolling past the apartment one day with Shout at the Devil playing, and it changed my life. Like Mick Mars and his guitar tone on that album totally got me into wanting to play electric guitar, and I kind of just started progressing from there, man. I certainly got into Motley Crue. I mean, I'm 47 now, so that shit was like pretty big when I was a 9, 10-year-old kid. But man, Metallica and Testament and Exodus and Anthrax and Overkill and all that shit came shortly after, and it's just been, nonstop. And my my interest in the guitar kind of evolved with what I was listening to at the time. So now it's all I ever do is, I really don't listen to much modern uh, metal. There's some I do, but I just don't go seeking it out. I'm more of a like 20s and 30s swing bing band kind of guys. It's like in the background kind of shit. But like I'm always listening to the old shit. The Angel Corpse, Immolation, you know, Gorguts, the old Morbid. All the you name it, all that old shit. I pump every day, but I try not to do too much because it sneaks in. Influence is great, but you find yourself like second guessing whether or not you're copying somebody. So so that's really where it all started from. The origins of just me even picking up a guitar, and it just kind of stuck, man. Like I moved down to South Carolina at late 95, and I met up with Jason Hohenstein, who's the original vocalist for Lecherous Nocturne, who's also going to be on this album for a song. We're pretty excited about that. So last one he was on was Age of Miracles, so that was a long time ago. So you know once I moved here, it kind of skyrocketed because Minnesota's dead beat. I mean, there's fucking nothing, bro. I don't know where you guys are living at, but chances are it's better than Minnesota. I don't even really give a shit where it is. The music scene was nothing. So when I moved here, man, I don't care what kind of style you were into. There was a scene for you in the Carolinas, and metal was huge. So it didn't take me long to get into a band. I was young and not that great, but like, I was 16 and I've been playing shows ever since. So that's kind of it, man. The band right now is in its probably best form to date. We've got Zach Jeter on vocals from Olkoth and Nile. Been a good friend of mine for 15 years or longer. It's great to see him, such a ripping musician, finally, get the recognition, because this guy's been, ripping in his bedroom for forever. So, and then we got Alex Lancey on drums. He's been with us for years, last couple of albums. James O'Neill on bass and Ethan Lane on second guitar. Those guys have been with me since 2010. So I think we're pretty solid, man. I'm really happy with where we're at right now.
Hell yeah. Well, I just like to go on the record and say, I'm in Minnesota and I'm super offended. Just kidding. I'm in Houston, Texas. Zoomy here is in Oklahoma City. So
it would have been par for course if you were in Minnesota and just so happened to be offended. That's hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah.
Nah, it takes a lot to offend us.
Nah, I get it.
That's awesome. But well, dude, that's cool, man. Sounds like you got a hell of a lineup right now, and I know you guys are working, or you've finished tracking a new record, right? So it's
The tracking's done. It's going to be mixed from Ronnie Bjornstrom. So however long that takes, right? You know, a couple weeks, I would imagine, maybe a month. I don't know. He's a pretty busy dude. And then I'm gonna have it mastered through George Bokos at Grindhouse Studios, I believe is what it's called. And he was a friend of mine when we toured with Rotting Christ. He was the guitar player for them, and he opened his own studio in Greece. And I ran into him at NAMM this last year, and just worked out. So I'm really excited with everybody who's involved. You know.
oh yeah, it sounds like a alignment of the stars, man.
Yeah.
Sounds like good things are coming. I'm excited to hear it.
It's definitely I think we to your point about technical and death metal, and you know, for a minute a lot of bands, including us, were trying to be technical, over technical, like as many notes and riffs in a song. And I mean, that's cool, you know what I mean? But eventually I think all bands, especially bands like that, uh finally evolve into like, okay, the music inherently is technical, right? Like, you got to be a decent or a pretty good player just to play death metal these days. It's not like the Monstrosity days. I love you guys, but like, you know, early on it was pretty primitive. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't take much. Thrash metal was way more technical than early death metal for sure. So, you know, but today to be a good player, like you got in this field, you got to be fucking pretty good. So like, you don't really have to overdo it, man. Just like try to write good songs, try to write catchy riffs, you know. The rest of it should be already baked into the cookies, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
yeah,
man. We often use the term listenable
right.
to kind of describe, you know, some of the music because it's really hard to say that this wasn't as technical as that and it not sound like offensive, you know, whenever you do, but whenever the one that isn't as technical is really more listenable, and it's not even that it's not technical, it's just arranged in a way that comprehensible, and so you don't have to like feel like you're working out to just pay attention to what's going on. And I always have trouble describing that, but you know, like what you're talking about, to me, that's a lot of what it is. You know, like you're already good. You're already really, really good musician, and everybody up there is a really good musician. But to be able to like put some music out that
Yeah.
the listener can attach to.
Right. Right. And what do you say you know, it's not really it's you know, offensive if it's not as technical, but like, it's like, let's face it, man, like some bands, we all have our bands that we listen to because it's a challenge, and these guys fucking rip and they and all that shit, right? But like, that's not really what it's about. You know, your average listener may not even play an instrument, you know what I mean? They're just into metal, you know what I mean? So like, if you leave them out in the breeze and only cater to other musicians, which, you know, I understand that. I think Lecherous Nocturne for a while was more of a musician's band than not. Uh, but you know, you leave them out to dry, and it's like, you know, what are we doing it for? Like, I know I can do it. You know, I got, you know, my friends know I can do it, and any of our fans know that that's what we can do. So it's like, how about we write songs that you can absorb and catch on to, and you know, like you say, you know, if you're not doing that, then I get it. It's more of a niche thing, but like, I want everybody to be able to feel the venom, uh, understand the ferociousness, because if it gets too technical, it starts to sound like Nintendo music, and who gives a shit? Let's face it.
Yes.
So, like, without the ferocity, without the venom, without some of these elements, you really kind of distilled metal down to, I don't know. It's still listenable, but it's boring. It doesn't have any balls. There's no purpose. And there's a lot of bands out there doing that, and they're amazing musicians. That's fine. But I don't listen to Yngwie Malmsteen albums, bro, because I'm fucking sleeping 30 seconds in. You know, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of, if you're not writing good songs and people aren't interested in it, then what? I mean, what are we doing? You know. So
I mean, you just muted yourself to talk.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you watch like Yngwie play, and you only have to watch like 1 or 2 minutes of it, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's amazing. And then you've already got the idea of the entire rest of the show. It's just going to be him like just going wild and crazy, arpeggioing like a madman out there
Bro.
on the guitar, and it's super impressive. And
Sure.
the
it's
level,
amazing.
yes, you know,
Yeah.
and that is exactly what we're trying to say here is despite how amazing it is,
It's boring as fuck.
there's
It's
still
old fast.
there's still a level of taste and feel that, you know, like comes along with great music. And like I said, something that the listener can attach to, not to just keep repeating myself, but you know,
No, but that's a good way of saying it, man. 100%.
Because even me personally, I can listen to some things like over and over and over and over again, and I can appreciate them and love them. But as soon as I put it down, it's almost like, and I get into listening to other stuff, it's like I've forgotten about it, you know, because there's just so much out there. And then
Right.
I'll hear
Right.
something again that, you know, was like something that, you know, stuck with me. And I'll realize like, hey, this one like pulled me away from, you know, you talked about it in the background. This one pulled me away from what I was doing and made me be like, hey, what track was this again? What, you know, where did I hear this from? And we've talked about, I don't know, just the impact of listening to one song versus listening to the entire album, and, you know, just being able to get a feel for the music differently by doing that. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things a listener can do too, but all back to just say that whenever you can arrange something that people like, but it's still just heavy and brutal and technical.
I like
We'll
it.
go-
Did you just make a new term? Brutical. I like
Yeah,
it.
we'll take Brutical, Alex, for a 35.
You should
Fucking
use
sick.
that as a descriptor for your new
Yeah.
album.
Shit's Brutical, bro.
Yeah. Holy fuck.
Well, I think, like you say, though, man, like it depends on the band. Today, every band is like, I don't know why, but they're in such a rush to put out songs or content. Where the fuck? I mean, you guys look to be like you've been around the block a minute, so you realize from listening to albums that, you know, it's an experience. You listen to the whole album, but today I think bands kind of put out singles and they're more focused on how quick they can put the next one out as opposed to sitting down and really constructing an album and curating the songs to go with this fucking idea.
And we've talked about this being a problem in today's world is you can't just really sit down and enjoy an entire album because it's almost like there's this not competition, but there's this just desire to stay relevant and to always have something new coming out. Like how I don't know how our brains are wired like content creators now instead of musicians. And
Right.
you don't want to get left in the dust because, oh, I'm not putting anything out. I got to make a post every day. I got to, you know, and we battle with this on the social media side. And then we have to back up every now and then and remember that we're not social media people. We're doing a metal show so that we can hang out with metal bands and hopefully get a few extra listeners out there of some of these bands and bring a few people to the genre. You know, whether it's new music or music that's already been out there, because we've had shows where we talked about just bands that we used to listen to whenever we were growing up and stuff, you know? So Yeah.
Hang on, I want to take a second to talk to our listeners and say, hey, click that like and subscribe button right now. Keep us relevant. You want to hear the
Fucking
rest of
smash it.
Zoomy's thought? Hit that subscribe button right now.
Yeah, smash it.
Good sound effects. See, we
Fuck
don't even
yeah.
need sound effects on the show. We have Brando.
Homemade. Yeah, homemade. It's the way to go. Homemade. Well, like you say, man, I love the guy who's taking care of our social media right now. I love you, Robbie.
I was gonna say that's Robbie with Viscera Disgust Media, right?
Yeah, but he's always up my fucking ass. Like, I need more content. I need more content. It's like I say the same thing. I play guitar, bro. You know what I mean? Like, content.
The internet.
Yeah, like,
or
dude, like, I have all the time in the world, but I don't care to spend it online. You know what I mean? Like, to that degree. So Robbie's been great, and he's doing a fantastic job, but it takes a certain kind of someone to be able to dive into what it's become today, which is a social media. If you don't have the numbers on social media, good luck with labels, good luck with booking agents, good luck with all that shit. And to me, that is so retarded. I don't know if you can say that anymore, but I don't give a shit.
you can't hear.
On
Yeah,
Metal Block, it's safe.
To me, it's just stupid because there's a lot of amazing music and bands out there that are underground, right? Like how it all started. They don't have a lot of followers. They don't have a lot of people who know about them, but they're the shit. So I think, man, it's just kind of a stalemate situation right now with social media and music, especially because, yeah, it's great for bands. You get more exposure, this and that, but then it becomes like a fucking fashion show or some stupid. Everything else falls by the wayside musically, and then it becomes how fucking dumb you can look in front of a camera, and then hopefully people will find your band through that. I'd rather not. So,
No, we're interesting. Okay, so you're late 70s. Brando and I were early 80s, and so close. And,
close. Yeah,
and
totally.
the thing is in a way we're like half breeds, right? Because
you were in the kind of stuck in that little.
We had, half of our growing up didn't have any internet or anything like that. I mean, we had TVs that you had to, like, if you lost the remote, actually they didn't even have a remote. Some of them had a dial. I remember the one that was in my room had the little dial, and it had 13 numbers on that dial. And
UHF and VHF,
yeah,
bro.
and you could find ways to like hook your Sega up to it or something if you had to, because technology does what it does. There's always little adapters, and so you'd have like 3 adapters to get to this TV that didn't, that wasn't really the right connection for it. But it just kind of takes me back to a time period where we really didn't rely on that kind of networking, and I've talked about this on many shows where we would go to a show just because a logo would look cool on a flyer.
100%.
And also we would see the bands that they played with, and we would like learn about those bands and where they were from. And then before you know it, you were going to one of those other band shows and they had bands playing with them. And so, and then your friends were telling you about stuff that they had heard. And I mean, it was just like a whole different way that you were learning. And then MySpace happened. Remember that? And then
I do. And before MySpace, after to your point, you'd start going to all those shows. Then before you know it, you're going to the same show at the same venue with the same bands.
hanging out with the same people, like over and over again.
American Legion Hall.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, everybody wants to forget today that that's where the fuck it comes from. Death metal comes from the shittiest venues in town because that's all that will house them. They come from shitty everything. So today they're trying to like make it all, to me, it's something that it's not. Arena music, it is not. I saw Morbid Angel on the with Pantera and Slayer and Static X in like
Yep, we
2000
saw
or
that.
some shit.
Yeah, we were there, buddy.
I saw it in Colorado at the wherever it was, but
We were in Dallas.
You
We
saw
saw
that
the
tour?
Smirnoff Amphitheater in Arlington, Texas.
That's
That
right.
was,
It's in
Okay.
it was
Arlington.
insane.
What was your impression of Morbid Angel in a big room like that?
Man, I mean, I thought they did a pretty good job. I don't think I liked them as much at the Myriad. They played at the Myriad in Oklahoma City with Pantera like 2 years before that. That was an indoor like arena. The
Right.
Smirnoff was an outdoor amphitheater, and that tour with like Static X and Slayer, that one I thought they crushed it on that. I thought it sounded really good. The arena one, not such a good
Yeah,
fit for that.
that's the impression I got because the music's so dense and the room is so big that and the music's so fast that by the time the kicks even reach you, it just sounded like a jumbled mess. It was at the Denver Coliseum inside. Everyone else sounded amazing because I think it's not quite as dense and it's not quite as fast a music. So it translates to rooms like that where it actually has time to reach the listener in a manner that is absorbable. But for me, death metal has always been a small club, maybe a theater situation, and outdoor stuff also translates very well, obviously, or else festivals wouldn't be a fucking thing. But like,
That's true.
also,
That's a really good point
yeah.
about the density of it and just like how full death metal really is, and like
Well, when you think about it, like all the old bands from the 80s compared to bands today, man, that shit is like on slow motion. So it's easy to translate, especially with technology today, for sound reinforcement. It's amazing comparatively. But like death metal, dude, not only do you not get that same crushing feel from being within 100 yards of the band, but like the sound just does not do it any justice, in my humble opinion.
I don't know if people who have stuck with us from the beginning like hear something that we have actually said time and time again about being able to capture some of those bands in like a more intimate setting where things are smaller. We've talked a lot of times about catching bands where there wasn't even a stage and they were playing on the floor,
Best shows.
right there in
Best
front of you.
shows.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
man.
and then you see them again years later. And you're right, they're up at, like a much bigger venue and it's a totally different feel. You don't ever forget that show that you saw, like ground level or
oh
on that
man.
stage,
So
that was that big.
I've said this before on an episode. I went through a pretty heavy grindcore period where I was really into grind, and there was
Fucking rules.
my parents used to live in Virginia, and I went out there. And when I was visiting them, I went to Richmond because there was a small place playing. I mean, dude, it was like 20 feet wide, maybe 60 feet deep, maybe. But it
Right.
was I don't know if you like grindcore at all, but like it was
I
rotten.
do.
It was Rotten Sound, Maruda, Magruder Grind, and Catheter, and there was no stage. I was
Great
standing
bands.
3 feet away from Rotten Sound, just grinding my face off. Like I was like, dude, this is insane. It was so cool.
And would you have had it any other way?
No, not at all. That's
For a
like
show like that? No.
yeah. I've seen Rotten Sound like 3 other times, and they've been up on stage and at like a club or something, right? Which was still really cool, but nothing will ever compare to that show. Like that was just awesome.
I mean, 100% agree. We've done our fair share of really shitty venues. To me, those venues are awesome for that exact reason, because the experience, not only for the band, myself, but the people that came to see the show, I think it's just a better experience, especially for this style. It's harder to translate the ferocity from a mile away or right fucking here, right? When you're right here in front of the band. You know, I don't go to see certain shows. I want to see the band, but the venue to me doesn't. You know, I get it. There's guys out there, they make their living doing this. I don't. I never have. I certainly don't expect to. Fortunately, I haven't had to. Right. So like, there's that. But I get it. You want to keep going, making more money, and that entails all the things we just talk about. But like, for the sense of the music and the sake of the art and the craft, I think this stuff should be absorbed in, like, if you're a really big Cannibal Corpse level band, theaters are perfect. When we toured with Cannibal and we're doing, you know, a bunch of theaters on that run, those guys translate fucking amazing. There's still enough room for plenty of people, but they sound phenomenal, and you're still close enough to be able to get not only to your comrades but to the band, and I don't think you can replace that with stadium shit.
Yeah, like theaters and ballroom type venues. Like I think there's I remember. I think the last time I saw, well, I guess it wasn't the last one, but I remember seeing Cannibal Corpse at the Diamond Ballroom in Oklahoma City. And that was one of those crazy shows where two tours like just ended up being in the same city at the same time, and it was like
Right.
Exhumed and Cannibal Corpse and Watain and someone, like it was
Sick.
wild. But
Yeah.
they, like, the sound there was great. That ballroom type, you know, not too big enough for people. You're close enough where you could still hear their amp and not just through the house monitors. Like,
Right.
you know, I think hearing that stack or that half stack, like helps make the
Dude,
point that you're talking about, you know, instead of
100%.
hearing it all mixed into one monitor speaker, like
Yeah,
coming out
100%.
at you.
Do you guys play instruments?
Yes, sir.
What do you play?
Guitar.
Sick. So you totally get it. How about you?
I play bass.
Do you totally get it too?
Yeah. Brandon, show me your guitar.
Yeah, let me see it.
He's going to pull down his pants first. I'm kidding.
That's a fucking sick piece, bro. So is the other one. What is that one on the ground? What's that Strat style?
So, so the Strat style is actually a handmade Korean guitar that my dad was in the Air Force, and he was in South Korea for a year, and it's solid body,
That's
neck through.
bad as fuck.
It's called Mr. Potato.
I love the headstock.
I have it's a 6-string, and I have always tuned it down to B standard.
My
and,
boy.
Just shredded the shit out of it. Like I love it. I've had this guitar for a long time. This has been like my baby.
That's a really cool story behind that guitar, man. You'll never let that thing go, that's for sure.
No.
What's that other one?
The other one is a Solar X.
Yeah, I thought so. How do you like? That's the same one Dallas has.
Is it? Oh, dude,
it's the same one Dallas has.
I fucking love it. It's a 7-string, and it's so smooth. Like,
I think he's got the 6 version, and he fucking loves it, man.
Yeah, it's great. Like, you know, like I said, I've tuned this other 6-string down to B standard for my entire life, and finally got a 7-string, and now I'm like, oh, I'm just playing it in standard, but
right.
like it feels and sounds really good. Like I'm very happy with it.
Man, I've got heard a lot of good things from Solar. I just can't get away from BC Rich, certain BC Riches.
Yes, I wanted to ask.
If you can see him. Here, I'll grab one.
Yeah, grab one. I wanted to ask you about your gear.
Well, it's pretty old school. I use old NJ JRVs. This was like my first endorsement guitar with them, so it's like still my main.
Beautiful.
It's done everything. That's pretty basic, of course. I just had the frets replaced because they were like shot, but like so it's playing really juicy right now. But I use EMGs just because my ear's tuned to that shit. Kaler for sure. I can't do the Floyd Roses. And that's really it.
Hell yeah. How long have you had that?
Oh shit, man. 20 years. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's how long Brandon's had the Mr. Potato, at least about that long. And I know
that's sick.
The bass that I play with, Ibanez Sound Gear, man, I talk about it compared to today's Ibanez sound gears, and I'm like, it's not even the same. It's not even the same instrument at all.
Bro, I've talked with my bass player at fucking nauseum about Ibanez could quit making guitars and they'd be fine. Sound gears are the shit. At least they were. I don't know. It's been a while.
It's not that the new ones aren't still good. It's just like, I find that, the $500, $600 I spent 20 years ago,
right.
It's
doesn't go as far.
It's not the same $500, $600 you're spending today. And I mean, everybody would say, well, duh. But I mean, I guess just, actually holding the bass and comparing it with other ones, I'm still just like, I like mine. But I also still preface it with mine wasn't perfect either. Like I had to send it back to Ibanez at one point and have the entire neck replaced because no matter how
brutal.
you adjusted the truss rod, you'd always get a buzz somewhere, no matter what you did. And so
what model the SR like 505 or
that sounds right. The 505 I think is exactly.
Those are great basses. I mean, they did such a good job. I don't know. James would have to comment on it because he's got like 30 instruments, all basses, and maybe sprinkled with a couple guitars. So like,
my man,
he's like, well, he just got a Titan. What is it? Titan 1200 Mesa head or whatever. Like,
oh yeah, I'm sure that thing bumps.
It bumps hard, but he ordered the Strategy for whatever it is, the 430, the big 6550 or KT88 for whatever the fuck it was. Tube 460 watt tube, gnarly, but it came in shot. It was bricked when he got it.
Oh man.
Yeah, so he got the Titan instead, man. He's fucking loving it. So gear is essential to death metal bands for all the reasons we just described, kind of having to be playing some lower line venues that don't have adequate sound reinforcement. You kind of, whatever PA there is, you reserve that for, kicks, maybe snares, certainly vocals. Like guitars and bass, we kind of got to come correct with our shit if you want to be heard, yeah. So
I can't think of a single time. Now we haven't played a show in over 20 years to take us back to the time I probably bought the bass
in a few minutes.
Yeah. But I can't think of a time, man, maybe one time, that time we played down in Dallas, did we plug directly into the PA? That might be the only time that I can think of that at least me as the bass, was just lining through. Any other time I was running through the amp and
100%.
Either the amp was maybe mic'd up, maybe, but most
or you had a DI running to the front, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
But like you said, in death metal shows, it was just kind of like, bring what you got and we're going to rock out. And so,
throw and go, man. If you're not throw and go, then what are we doing? You know what I mean? It's like, that's why it's always been like about having good, rock solid gear like that. It's kind of that punk rock attitude, man, that Hanneman brought into the metal scene. Like it's still there for a lot of bands. Like, it's that mentality. Like you got to have good shit, but minimalist. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite shows to play were house parties. Like house shows, or like I don't know. There was one time we played out in the country in Oklahoma for just people drinking at a kegger, like out. Do you remember that, Zoomy? It was like with Casey. Like I don't remember whose party it was. There was like a trailer, like
I think
a
that was like
trailer, and we set up on that, and then
I think it was
out in the
Sammy
middle of
Sampson's
fucking nowhere.
land.
Yeah,
that's
Sammy
fucking badass.
Sampson. Yeah, man,
those are always great shows, right?
Yeah, I think Casey probably, he loved the show, but he got a DUI on the way home. I mean,
we took that beer to go.
Yeah, he was like, "I'll take it to go."
Cost of doing business,
I laugh because nobody got hurt. Everybody, nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt.
Right. Don't drink and drive.
Yeah, don't drink and drive. Friends,
whatever.
take your friends' keys. That's what you do.
Yeah.
But
Uber.
Yeah, Uber now. Actually, it's something we just didn't even have,
100%.
So, I mean, if Yellow Cab didn't come out there, you were either walking or driving.
Walking.
Hey,
Yeah.
I gotta say, I remember Zoomy had an idea a long, long time ago before Uber and Lyft came around. We went to the University of Oklahoma, Campus Corner in Norman. Zoomy was like, man, I should just buy a scooter and like people could call me and I drive to them at the bar. I put my little scooter in the trunk of their car and drive them home in their car, and then I have my scooter to get back to wherever, like to the next person. I was like, that's genius, man.
So I found these scooters that you could fold up. And so they would like they were a couple $1,000 at the time, and I mean it's still a solid idea, you know, still a great idea because
Still a great idea. It's the $1 million idea.
yeah. So anyway, and I think other states have done this because I saw other states doing this, but it just was nowhere around.
I've seen flyers for it ever since. I'm like, they stole his idea, man.
That was me. But you could fold this little scooter up, and it didn't like really fold up like small, but I mean it folded up like suitcase size, you know.
Easy enough to get into somebody's car.
Yeah, and you could throw it in a trunk. I think it even had like a bag or a case that you could put it in so that it wouldn't get, you know, like grease or gas or, you know, like people wouldn't have to worry about the car. Anyway, everybody out there, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. We were going to call it Boomer Scooters.
You guys want to do a hustle.
Yeah, right.
And you live in a college town. That's the way to go.
There you go. There's the idea. I'm old now. It's probably never going to happen. So, you know, we just talk about metal now, which I really want to get into, you know, what the band's got going on, because we talked about some stuff tracked. So why don't you give us an idea of what you know you guys are up to, what you got coming up, and yeah.
Well, basically, we just wrapped up the album. We were calling it Violust, the lust for violence. And we thought that was a fun play on words. So Violust is the name of the album. It'll be 8 or 9 songs, I think, somewhere in there. I think it's 9 songs. And we really kind of threw anything at the wall approach and just took what we thought stick the best and liked the most and just try to craft, you know, good songs. And hopefully we succeeded. I'm really happy with everything in the direction, that's for sure. But, you know, to your point earlier, you know, some people, you know, love the technical aspect, and that's fine. We've got older albums that you can listen to for all that, but, you know, the stuff's inherently technical and it's a little more catchy than the older stuff, a little bit more ferocious, I think, because of that. So I'm excited. As far as like labels and stuff like that, we haven't really cared, you know, like Willow Tip was our last major or, you know, whatever independent label. And, you know, in their defense, I understand business is business, and, you know, we don't sell a lot of albums, but I don't think we really need a label in this day and age to get it out there. So we're going to kind of shop it for the next couple of months, I think, until the end of the year, once it's finished, and maybe put out a couple singles, that's for sure. And then one way or the other, we're going to put it out by the first of the year, you know, shortly after, if not shortly after Christmas, thereabouts, depending on what we've, you know, turned over.
It's a present, like a Christmas present.
It's a Christmas present of pure hatred.
Hey, well, I wanted to tell you something. You commented on the album sales with Willow Tip. So, I usually go on and get like the most recent digital album from, you know, the band, the group that we are talking with. And so whenever I was actually on Bandcamp, I saw that y'all still had 12 of the vinyls for the album you guys released in 2018. It was your last album, Occultaclysmic.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that you now only have 11 available.
Thank you very much. Or Willow Tip thanks you, but
Yeah.
that's all. That's awesome. I don't care who gets the money for it as long as the music is being out there, man. I think that's really cool. Thank you.
Well, I didn't even realize that it was only 100 that had been printed at the vinyl level, and
I,
so whenever I saw
I
that, I was like, man, there's still a few left. Like I'm gonna grab one. So
I
collector's
didn't
item.
I didn't realize that either. I mean, that's awesome. I got one floating around here. I don't spin vinyl, but I do kind of have a few just because I love the bands. You know what I mean? But that's cool, man. That's really cool. Our experience with them was pretty spot on. But it was it was an amicable split, we'll say, because they needed us about as much as we needed them. So but they were cool. Jason Tipton's really cool dude and took good care of us. But so if we can't find some sort of deal, which I don't really care if we do or not, we're going to put it out ourselves. I think it's 100% as effective, So,
It's definitely doable. A lot of bands are
yeah,
doing it these days.
yeah.
So, well, tell us a little bit about you guys' creative process, man. Like, do you guys each write songs separately? Is it very collaborative on each song? Like, how does it work for you guys?
In the past, up until like I think 2008 or so, for Age of Miracles Has Passed, I predominantly wrote all the material for those albums up to that point. Um, of course, with input from the guys, Chris Lawless, one of our original guitar players, amazing, or certainly was an amazing guitar player. Not so hot these days, but it's neither here nor there. Uh, he would put in his riffs and have a lot of great ideas, but it was usually always up to me to put it together and make it some sort of listenable something. And it took a lot of practice, of course. But since Behold Almighty Doctrine, we tried that, splitting up writing duties of the songs, and Ethan Lane is a formidable writing force. He came from a band called Apotheosis. I highly encourage everyone that likes ferocious death metal to check them out. But he wrote a bunch of songs, and I wrote a bunch of songs for that album and Occultaclysmic, and as close as we are stylistically, I can definitely listen to the record and even if I didn't know it, I'd be able to tell that they were written by two different players. If you know what I mean? Like, so this time around, it was and through technology, through shit like Zoom and just the ability to basically have a home studio, it's made things tremendously easier than, having to live within 50 miles of each other at all times and all this shit. You know what I mean? So now you can basically bounce ideas off each other and put some stuff together fairly quickly if you're motivated. So uh, that's basically how it went this time. I I arrange all the songs basically, and I write the majority of the material still, but the guys really contributed a lot more for this album than really ever before, as far as like taking ideas and you know getting the best out of them. Your first draft is always shit, and draft 2, 3, 4, and 5 is generally just about as shitty. So by the time you get uh, deeper into the layers, you finally start feeling good about, the songs have matured, ideas come up while you're writing them that, when you're under the gun in the studio and you're looking at the clock all the time and you think you got the songs, you've been in the studio or the rehearsal room, you guys are pegging it out. When you're really focused on playing it tight and that's all you're focused on, the songs don't have a chance to really keep growing in that time frame. You know what I mean? Unless a magic idea happens, generally you were just trying to get into the studio and get it captured and make sure it's tight. So the the home recording thing has definitely given everybody the ability to, you know, be a better writer, really, because it gives you time to mature the songs. So that's kind of how this record went down. You know, we just bounced ideas off each other. I had about 3 or 4 songs ready to go to present to everybody right off the bat, and then we just started writing together from there.
Brandon and I are looking at each other in the eyes, like, who's next? Who's next? uh Man, I was just gonna comment on how much I think, at least with technology, the way it is now, and how we have just so much more gear that we can get our hands on. Being able to do the home recording to just get your tracks out is a game changer. It's a total game changer. There are an elite few who also still have the ability to take it to the next level, mix and master. But you still have people, if you don't know how to do that, that do. And as long
That's
as
right.
you
You
have
hire
good,
them.
yeah, as long as you have good tracks, you can send it to them and they can, use their ear to, turn it into a final product, and hopefully with some collaboration with you along the way too. But just wanted to mention that how I understand, because your last album, that's pre-COVID, man. That's like a whole lifetime ago, if you want to think about it in terms of how our lives have just changed with how we communicate and the technologies that we have, like to be able to, do something like this. We had an interview with a band from Poland. We've had an interview with a band from Germany, things that we just really could not do probably before
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
COVID situation.
Yeah.
And
It really amplified that technology to come to
yeah, brought it,
fruition.
made it real important, and
Yeah.
kids weren't at school, so all of a sudden the ability to have strong Wi-Fi and internet connections so kids could do their homework at home or schoolwork at home. I mean, it just became a real thing. And so now we're able to do this. But just back to the original point of, you know, this allows you to, like you said, be an artist, and you don't have to get into the studio. And now you're up against the time, because time is money and we've only got so much money. And oh my gosh, the stress of it. And then you end up having this product in the end that didn't quite capture the feel,
Yeah.
of what you were going for, because, there's this like urgency that was placed behind it. And that rushedness causes, at least as the creator, you see the many flaws that, you weren't able to iron out before, the end. And you're like, but we had it, but we had it. And it's like, but we were just up against this other, uh,
Right.
what am I trying to say? Not obstacle, but just like,
Deadline.
yeah, I mean,
Just
it's
a
a deadline. It's an
deadline.
obstacle.
Financial deadline. Yeah.
Time is money.
Once the money's over, that's it. Unless you got a really cool engineer, and there's a few, and we've had some, but like most aren't, man. Money's up, so is my time. I respect that, you know what I mean? But like today, you really, with a monkey's, if I can, I mean, if a guy like me, let's just face it, like if a guy like, if I can do it, anybody can do it, man. Tracking today is as easy as it's ever been in the history of mankind. So, like,
So what DAW do you use at home whenever you're tracking? Do all the other guys use the same thing?
not everybody does, but the majority of us use Studio One. We just prefer it. It's easy, and really every DAW is about as easy as the next. Some have features that are weighted towards certain things, and some producers like that better, but I really just got Studio One because it was like kind of dummy proof, and that was for me. Certainly. Because I was going into it like I was still like, man, plugs suck. They sound cheap and generic still. Amps are still what's best. I had no idea how to mic a cabinet, so I was really turned off by the whole attempt of it anyways. But now plugs sound fucking killer, and you can just track records, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. And that sucked. And you can just do it over and over until you're happy with it, which is slippery slope in itself, but it's a much better experience.
So these plugins, though, like you're talking about, and how much awesome they are, it's like the control that you have on them still. It's not even like you just grab this distortion sound and throw it on top of your track. You have all the same knobs to turn that you would have, and then you could even, like you said, when it comes to the amp side of the plugin, you can like move the digital microphone further back or place it in a different spot so it like actually captures what it really would have been like.
Really impressive.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
And they've I've seen some of the videos behind how they'll do some of these drum plugins, like whenever people want like Neil Peart's drum kit that he played with and one of the tours.
So like we just so happen to have recorded that fucking sample. Here it is.
It's funny.
That's pretty amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it'll show like how they'll have like this little computer, this robot that's recording these hits, and it's moving this microphone in all these different spots and recording these hits with all these different kinds of I'm not even gonna use the right words, but pop behind it, or soft or hard, or however you want to say it.
You can get really close inside the box digitally with all the plugins, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it puts to shame
they're amazing.
all of those digital sounds that were out in like the early 2000s with like the pedals that they'd have back then, even
the 11
like,
rack.
Even like your Line 6 pedals. Like Line 6 is like a top of the line. Like what the Helix now is like one of the top of the line pedals. But
I had that Digitech with the 8-track recorder on it and like 6 pedals like built in. That thing was cool. But
I used to roll Digitech hard, the 2112 and the 2120 rack units were my shit in the 90s. That was an amazing unit. I probably still have one sitting around, but you couldn't even get parts for them anymore. But digital, there's a place for it 100%, and it's made life a lot easier. However, there's also a flip to that coin where amps, and I don't care if it's solid state or tube, it's the fact that it's an amplifier, and the response of the playing through that amp is so much more now. You get used to it. If you spend a week or two just playing through your DAW, rehearse with your amp, you're like, I got some work to do, man. I haven't let some shit slide. You know what I mean? Like,
it's different. It's so different. You think you're playing it perfect, and then you play it in something else, and you realize how sloppy and awful it actually sounds.
100%. So there's the flip side of that coin, right? Like, as easy as this is, it's almost an illusion. When you're done doing it, make sure you rehearse everything with your amp. You know what I mean? Or it starts to, or like what I like to do is just get a DI box or a little fucking reamper and split your signal, so you can still get a little through your monitors of those awesome plugins, but you still got I got a couple of, I'm pointing over there. I don't know if you guys can see any of those. It's kind of low lighting, but I got a couple of triple Recs sitting over there. And, of course, my rack.
Very nice.
So I run through that at the same time, so I can still get the tightness of my playing through an amp still, but still get that nice kind of digital shimmer that these plugs have today. Because, man, like you said, early 2000s, Line 6 was a joke, a laughable joke. 11 rack was equally as hilarious. And you were no way, shape, or form going to convince me that trash was better than my triple rectifier. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, me looking at I'm with you. I'm with you. And it cracks me up. Now, when you talked about reamping your stuff, that's real interesting, because what you're talking about is you're running your raw signal in so that you've got your plugins coming out, like, so you've got that digital sound, but then without having to, have a second guitarist sitting there playing through an amp or anything, it's also lined in and it's playing out your amp. So you got the sound coming out your amp, which is, your the true amped up sound, that you're really getting. It's not digitally what am I trying to say? Altered,
Altered.
And
so are you recording that amp line too at the same time?
No, I was about to say that. No, it's what I'm doing, and of course, totally can. I'm just not good at doing it. I don't know shit about mic placement. I don't know shit about it at all. I've watched it happen. I don't know fuck all past that. So
I'm not going to pretend to know about it.
I don't. Yeah. So is what I do is I record direct into the interface, just a direct raw signal, of course, with the plugins. What I send to Ronnie will be just blank tracks that he will then reamp. To your point, he'll do just that. He'll run them through amps or whatnot, and find a good tone that way. When I go through, all the songs just about every single day for maintenance purposes, really no other reason. It's beneficial to rehearse to your songs or whatever material it is that you're rehearsing through your amp while you're listening to it through whatever, your monitors, headphones, or whatever. But as long as you're playing it through your amplifier and you can actually hear the amp, you are a much tighter player for it, in my humble opinion, because there's just something about the translation of cable to head cabinet than there is to interface computer DAW. It's great. It's really good, but that's still king in my humble opinion. Like, you can still hear all the it just tells on all your bullshit. So unless you plan on dragging your computer around everywhere and playing through that, you better still be tight.
So Brandon and I, he's been recording some stuff and sending it over to me, and he was like, how those tracks sound. Did you check them out? And I'm like, yeah, I checked them out. I said, they sound great. And I said, did you listen to them acoustic? Did you listen to them with none of those amps on there? And he was like, no. And I was like, well, there's this one part where the alternate picking, it doesn't sound right. And I said, it doesn't sound bad. I said, you amp it all up, everything sounds fine. I said, but whenever you listen to it raw, I said, it sounds like kind of like
I'm not hitting each track at the same time.
I said it sounds
off.
well, but I was trying to think of the words I was using. I was because I'm trying to tell him like, hey, just listen to it and tell me what you think. I'm not saying
it's not as tight as it could be with itself, is what you mean? Like, yeah.
And it was like maybe just all of those hits whenever you tracked multiple guitars on top, because he's not just copying a track and duplicating it. He's
good.
He's
Yeah,
playing
that sucks.
He's playing it again, and
Yeah.
maybe even with another guitar or something, just so he can try to capture a little something different and, just try it a little different. And I'll say those da-da-da-da-da-da-das might be like, like they're just and he was like, okay, so they're not hitting at the same time. And I'm like, just listen to it and tell me what you think. But to your point, back to everything we were just saying, is you listen to it with those digital amps on there, those plugins, and you're like, wow, this is sounding amazing, and it kind of explains why some people who have a very digital production sound, especially a lot of these YouTube people out there, and I'm not dogging them because I see the skill that they have to put a lot of this stuff out, but sometimes I'm like, how do they play so tight and never making a mistake in that? Like, how's there just no slop ever? And for one, you're recording it, so you get a chance to but
right.
The amps hide a lot of some of that because they are able to sustain those notes in different ways than your real amp, your physical amp is doing. And so some of that raw physical sound is some of that original emotional death metal sound that we're talking about. And so still hard to capture digitally, which makes it that much more important to have. Wolfgang Van Halen, he said, and I know he's not a metal guy, but he knows how to play.
He's metal enough. He's metal enough.
Yeah, he is. But he said, you got to know how to play your shit. Like, that's what he said. You don't have to worry about playing other people's stuff. I mean, that's great if you can, but you got to know how to play your own.
And to your point about it not being 100% perfect, even if you would really want it to be, unless it's like a noticeable artifact that turns the riff into something that it's not supposed to be, then it should be corrected, I think. But like, if there's nuances that are just cunt hairs of a difference, that's what makes it really. It's still
That's
a
human.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's what we were talking about on the phone too, Brandon. I was like, there is still a human element that we do want about our music, you know? Like, what do people up on stage, if they're hearing it played, you know, like at its, you know, perfection on stage live, what does that sound like? Because the same
Yeah.
reason why a drum machine can't ever replace a drummer. There's a
If you can't pull it off
yeah,
live,
and then there's a human piece inside of
yeah.
it that adds this feel that everybody knows about who plays music, that feel. And
And for sure, all your favorite shit from back in the day, none of that shit was fucking snapped to a grid or auto-tuned or fucking time correct. None of that shit, bro. It was all fucking raw.
Tascam 4 tracks, buddy, and
Yeah.
you're like micing all your drums up on one track, maybe, if you've even got enough tracks for, you know, all your drums to
Dude,
put and so
dude.
you had like one level of drums, one level of
But
guitar, one level of bass, and you had vocalists. If you had two guitars, they're running in on the same track too.
same shit. It was the best. It was the best shit. You know, all that,
Yes.
all the mistakes, all the trash that's left in there. That's what makes these albums. Metal today is too fucking polished, man. I don't give a shit. I'll say it if no one else will say it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are saying it. It's too polished. This isn't Fleetwood Mac, bro. It's not Crosby, Stills, and Nash. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? It should not be perfect. It should be raw. It should still sound like fucking aggressive music, not the latest Taylor Swift album. Like, who gives a shit how perfectly polished your studio effort is?
Yeah,
Who cares?
there's a level of attitude that all metalheads should demand, you know, to come
They
from
should
the music.
demand it.
Yep.
100%, because today's shit gets awfully polished, and the translation from that live experience from the record experience gets washed out pretty hard. If you're using backing shit and all this stuff, I mean, I understand if you have themes and you have all these instruments and you're trying to add, you know, atmosphere. I get that, but like anything past that is fucking cheating. Let's not fucking mix it up. If you can't pull it off live, you're a fucking poser. Simple, no fucking frills, man. Like, so that's what the listener should expect out of any band they listen to. You know, it doesn't have to be the best sounding shit out there, you know.
And that atmosphere you're talking about is, you know, we've heard some bands where you go up on stage and, or where we go up on stage, where they're going up on stage, and while they're coming up on stage, there's this like sound that's playing, you know, not the band songs that are playing during setup, but there's like this theme that comes out, you know, and you've got this like, I don't know, it's like a sample from the album, or a sample for what they're about to do. And you know, it's like there's these tracks that play, you know, maybe in between songs, so that, you know, they're, you know, as maybe a guy's getting a drink, you've got, you know, a song or something coming out. It's not even really a song. I'm not doing this justice by what I'm explaining. But then you
No,
have,
it's interlude
yeah,
stuff that,
interlude. There's a
yeah.
good word. There's a great word. And then so then you have backing tracks that um you know, and I've seen it. I've seen it before where you hear a solo and you're like looking for who's playing the solo, and there's nobody playing the solo. And you realize
Yeah.
that's just a backing track. You just got some rhythm guitarists up here. And I've seen it with my own eyes. And so I know what you're talking about. And I remember in that moment being like, "Oh man, they're not even playing the solo at the show." And I think there are some circumstances where maybe that happens, but it shouldn't be your formula for your band. At least I don't think either. I mean,
At all.
if you've
At
got if
all.
you've got somebody who's sick or out, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you just don't play their part. Like that to me
Dude,
is
then they're just sick and out. Like, you know, and if you can't, if their playing is so crucial to the band, then you just don't do the show. Like, but the point is like, if you can't pull it off live and you're doing all the studio magic shit and you have 100 guitar parts that you've, you know, put together to make this riff, and there's only two of you on stage, bro, like, I get it. Studio stuff gives you that ability and take advantage, all that shit, artistic expression, but make sure that like you can do it in an honest with it manner with integrity live, that's all that anybody wants to see when you're checking out bands, you know.
And I think there is a difference in somebody who's just putting something out and never planning to tour or never planning to play live.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
studio it up,
Yeah,
because
100%.
you're not really having to back that up. It doesn't mean that I don't know. I guess you don't have to back it up live in the same way. You don't have to justify it. You're an artist, you're writing, you're putting stuff out.
Right.
I think it's just different.
It's different.
And
Yep.
so like I'm with you on it. I understand backing tracks are just kind of more of a way for today, and so I'll see it and I try not to cringe sometimes whenever I do, but it
Yeah.
it is something that I notice. And you know
It's getting more prominent than ever
and I
before,
was
and
about to say I think it's more and more each day, which
yeah, unfortunately, but at the end of the day, really, it's exactly like you said. It really is what is your intentions? If you're not a performing band and you're just an artist that's creating music for uh, listening purposes only, that's awesome. Do your shit in the studio because that's the only place to do it. However, the goat whores and the fucking corpses and the immolations of the world and the guys that have to go out night after night and prove that they can do what they've put on vinyl. It's different when you got like you say solos happening. If you can't play the solos, don't put them in the song. You know,
that's what
it's
I
just
thought. I was like, oh no, why is this even in the song?
yeah. Backing vocals, I guess I understand. If the guys probably suck at vocals. I know I do. Don't ask me to do any; it'll be horrible. So, like, if you got parts that require that I understand. But anything other than that, for a live act, I think is pretty poser.
So the biggest or most common backing track that I see personally, and I've noticed it over just the last like 2 or 3 years, is bass. Like there's no bass player on stage, and it's
That
just a
is,
backing track of bass. Like there is no bassist. I've seen it a lot, which I don't know if it's just a shortage of bassists or like what the scoop is on that. But have you noticed that?
I've seen a lot of bands that are like kind of. I think it's for that reason. Maybe it starts out for that reason, and they just accept that they can't find a quality musician to fill the role. So they just EQ the guitars to try to handle the bass frequencies or, mid scoop life. Fuck that. The bass player is literally the handshake between the guitar player's melody and the drums. Without that, that shit is so thin and beat. Like, what are you doing? You
Oh,
got to have it.
we have a saying here at the Metal Block podcast, and that is make sure you hug your bassist today. Just tell your bassist you love him today.
It's fucking amazing. Uh, I'm a firm believer in audible bass in all music, but certainly uh, the like kind of shit we do. Without those frequencies, and it takes the music to a different level with all those layers. If they're not there, it just doesn't sound right to me. But I understand players out there and bands that are doing it without it. I understand. Sometimes the talent pool is nothing. Kind of like when I was living in Minnesota, like nothing.
Yeah,
Things have probably changed a lot today, but back then there was nothing, and you got to use what you got. So
finding like-minded, talented musicians that you can also what's what I'm looking for, like just mend with, like mesh with, and have like a good creative process with, also get along and all that. Like sometimes that can be really difficult. So, I mean, I do get that. Like you said, the
yeah,
talent pool, but sometimes the talent's there, but personalities aren't, or
yeah,
the schedules aren't, or something like that. So
yeah. Or the motivations aren't there for the other people. They're just doing it for fun or whatever. If one guy's really wanting to take it to the next level, someone doesn't really care about doing shows or recording albums. They just want to rehearse and hang out. That's cool too. You know what I mean? But like, I got lucky, for sure, because the original lineup kind of just fell together. You know what I mean? And here in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, just the Southeast in general has got kick a tree and a musician will fall out of it for whatever fucking genre, So there's endless players everywhere. So I got lucky when I came here, I was able to find people pretty quick and people that were good and wanted to play, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. Because like Brandon was saying, talent can be there and the personality's not. I tried playing with some bands before and it just didn't work out. And
Yeah.
and some of them, it was an easy like, yeah, hey, it's this isn't the thing, this isn't gonna work. And then some of them it was just like, I can't do this, because they're not my friends, and that was the hardest part about it too. Is for me, it had to be people that I liked and I could hang out with on top of.
I tried doing it both ways. When my original vocalist and also one of my best friends, Jason Hohenstein, decided to leave the band, it was like, okay, what do we do now? So like finding somebody was very difficult, and we went through a few people, and some were better than others, talent wise, sure, and some were certainly better than others, personality wise. So like you try to step over it and be like, it doesn't have to be friends necessarily, but like then it's a business, and then it's fucked. You know what I mean? So like you have to be capable of being in the same room with each other for more than 5 minutes, and preferably good friends make better music together than business partners. That's for sure.
I was going to say the product will speak for itself.
100%.
Do we want to play a song?
I was going to say, speaking of the product.
So I know you said that we won't have anything ready for the next album, which you guys are calling Vile Lust. We're not going to have anything ready for that, but we still always like to play a track. So
I could probably sneak you guys a little sample. What will it hurt? What do I give a shit? You guys want to play one of the new ones? You can definitely do that. Let me see. Because at least Zach's, at least it's a modern representation. So fuck it. We'll just give you a raw, unmixed, unmastered, raw dog off the board version. How's that?
So this is what's cool. This is going to be, awesome. This is going to be like in a way, like the demo version. And so if you're like me and you remember the old school days of metal, especially some of the thrash metal throwbacks, like there'd be these demos of the songs that would kind of get passed around, and the real album would come out, and like you said, it'll be more polished, it would be more organized, and you could tell that there was a difference. But something about those demos, right? Everybody was always trying to get their hands on these demos before the actual album released. And well, if man, I think this is awesome. Super special, everybody.
Well, that's not over, but yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that.
So everybody out there, we're going to play a really special track. It's going to be a taste of what's to come. Nice demo version so that you can just wet your whistle with some new metal. And I hope you're as excited as I am, and I know you're going to enjoy this. So everybody out there, a little taste from Vile Lust by Lecherous Nocturne. This is so exciting, man. I'm grinning ear to ear because I was, thinking we were gonna rehash, something from the album a while back, and I wanted to, but I knew you had something coming. So, anyways, this is super special for me.
I feel it's more appropriate. And what do I give a shit? Like I say, there's no labels in the background trying to fucking act like it's pretentious and some sort of it's you can't share it till it's out. Fuck that. But it's just not as good. It'll just sound better later. So whatever.
I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're excited.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
excited
Thanks
to
for
be a
having
part of it, man.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah,
definitely.
man.
And I
I
hope
appreciate
everybody
it.
else is out there, be excited because this doesn't happen all the time. And this definitely doesn't happen on the metal block all the time, we're always sharing something, from a prior album, and it's always fairly current. And that's what makes this one special is we're allowed to still stay current with the music. We know that that's what people want to hear. They love hearing new stuff, but on the other hand, it's a special treat in the sense it's not even the final version that you're really going to get to hear once it's all polished up. So thank you,
Yeah.
Kreishloff, for sharing that with us. That's
no problem.
so awesome,
no problem,
brother.
guys.
So awesome.
I appreciate you guys doing what you're doing. The more people who are doing casts and just getting the word out there, it's just better for the scene in general, and new listeners finding new bands, exposed to new music. It's so saturated right now. It's really hard to sift through what's good and what's not. And people out there that are into our brand of metal, why? Yeah, fuck yeah, put whatever you want out there, man.
It's like, yeah, it's so cool that you brought that up too, because it's hard to preserve our culture too with everything that comes out because it changes. And, being kind of part from the older side of things, I can say that now. I, have this protection, but I'm also very open-minded. I'm very open-minded, which is a big reason why we do the show. We want people to see, how the band sees their music, and hopefully people will get a chance to hear something new too throughout the processes. But the community is something we touch on time and time again, that metal music would not exist without the community. You could say that about any genre, but it's different with metal. And if you've been to the metal shows, if you've been in
Yeah.
metal, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't been, you gotta go. I encourage you to
gotta
go
go.
find a friend that listens to heavy music and you're like that you've never understood, and just go like, hey, the next time you go to one of those like $15 to $20 shows, ask me. I want to go too. And I promise they'll be so stoked that you want to go to this metal show, because we're so excited to share the music and the scene with other people. And I've never, like my son, he wasn't huge into metal. I started just dragging him to metal shows with me so that I could go see more metal shows. And you know what? He loves
He get bit by the
he
bug.
loves
You know
it.
what I mean?
But he gets to talk to the musicians at these
Yeah.
shows. He gets to talk to the person behind the merch table. We always buy a shirt, so he knows he's going to get a cool shirt out of it too. And he gets to come home and be like, "Look, Mom, decrepit birth."
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And that's what it's always been about. And you're right, metal's different. It's built different. It always has been built different. It'll always be there. And I mean always, always, for everything else comes and goes. And even country is now country pop. Metal will always be fundamentally a group of like-minded individuals that make up a scene, a network, a community. So 100% on that. The more you can build, the better.
We love it. We love the
Absolutely.
community. Are we ready for the 5 questions, Brandon? What are you wanting to talk about?
Well, we are. I wanted to ask him, you guys have any shows, or like, are there any performances going to be coming up? Like what else do you, I know you have the new record coming out, the new album that you guys are doing, but what else is happening in the Lecherous Nocturne camp?
We definitely intend to play live. To what extent, as far as big tours or anything like that, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But we're definitely going to be playing live. We definitely intend to take the show on the road. So that's for sure. No dates as of yet, but there'll be definitely some dates for next year.
Cool. We will keep our eyes peeled for that and make sure we share any information on tours or shows that you guys have. So, all right,
Sick.
awesome. Well, that being said, Zoomy, yes, let's do our fast 5.
That usually don't end up being so fast, but it's really fun. We always have a good time, and by this part of the show, everybody's always laughing and just really enjoying it, and that's one of the reasons we keep doing this, is because it's just fun. And it's 5 questions that really aren't related. No, not really aren't, but aren't related to music.
They're not
directly.
related a damn thing. They're just random fucking questions, and
Perfect.
to get to know you a little bit better as a person.
All right, I'm in. Let's hear it.
And here's why I love these, and I'll preface it just with one last thought, is I love it because when people do see you at the show, they see you're just a normal dude, and they go up and they're like, hey, what's up, man? I really enjoyed the show, blah, blah, blah. And then, just conversations, relationships, memories, all those things are built through all of that because we're all the same, So
100%. I agree.
Question number 1. What is your favorite Halloween candy?
You ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
I hate fucking candy.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I really do. I'm not a big candy guy, but my favorite Halloween candy. All right. I'm going to show my age here, but you guys might remember these bottle caps. You remember those things?
Oh, yeah.
Are they even still a thing? I don't know.
I want to say in the past few years, my daughter has brought like maybe 1 or 2 things home, like maybe from a vending machine or something, like not like those claw games, like
right.
I don't think you come across them too often.
They've been there since '85. She's just now getting them. Yeah,
but you know what? They still taste good.
They stand.
That root beer is still root beer, buddy.
That was the dopest flavor too, and the purple ones were the shit.
Yeah, for real.
So
that's a good answer.
We were pretty fucking poor, so it's like whatever the apartment guys would give you, and sometimes it was like an apple with a bite out of it or whatever. But like, yeah, for sure, everybody would always have those whatever the little small candies in the wrap, the little
Smarties,
the little
Smarties.
No, are you talking about the
Smarties?
The
That's
Smarties.
it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so these were like a step above the Smarties,
That's right.
so those would be my favorite.
Yeah, they're like in between the Smarties and the Sweet Tarts. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're like in the middle. So I remember those bottle caps, man. Those things were awesome. So,
bro, I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna find some bottle caps. I'm gonna send you some bottle caps.
I'll hook you up with my address if you can send me some OG bottle caps. I'm on board.
Oh, all right.
And I don't know if people remember these, but I just want to throw these out here, and I think I can show everybody just real quick what this is. Maybe. Yeah. So here you go. Can everybody see these?
There it is.
Little bottle cap.
In all their glory.
Little bottle cap candies. They came in these little packages too, and they kind of look like bottle caps,
There'd be like 2 or 3 in it. And you'd always hope that root beer.
Yeah, you'd want to be root beer.
Yeah. Most of the time you were scammed with orange or whatever.
Scammed with...
These are still a thing, man. They've got these bad boys at Walmart, at HEB.
Woo!
Then if I get the urge, I'll go rehash my childhood.
Yeah, man.
With some bottle caps.
That's great. Well, here's what's funny. We asked something about candy, and you said you didn't really like candy. And earlier you said you didn't really like movies, but I was going to ask, Freddy, Jason, or Michael Myers? Who's the true baddie?
Fuck. Jason Voorhees.
You're going with Jason. Even though you were born in 78, the same year Halloween came out.
Timmy, I am not a loyalist. I got Voorhees right back there. I don't know if it's going to focus or see him. I don't know. It's a lost cause.
I believe you.
Yeah, but I got a full Voorhees sitting right back here.
Well, then
Voorhees is my guy.
That justifies the answer right there, man.
Yeah. But Freddy Krueger is a cunt-hair second place.
Freddy's pretty bad too, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't argue with the choices. You know, I have no real number 1, 2, or 3, but those are my probably top 3 of the scary movies. So all right, we're over with the Halloween and the candy and stuff. So if you could travel anywhere, where would you go and what would you do when you were there?
Well, shit. I've traveled a lot in my day. So probably some exotic shithole on the opposite side of the map. I don't know. I'm not a big beach guy, so I give a fuck about the ocean or anything like that. So somewhere in the mountains, I'd probably go to the Black Forest of fucking wherever that is, and I'd eat mushrooms and hunt deer naked with my bare hands.
Yes.
All right, so
That sounds fun.
here's what's kind of cool, man, is for me, that's awesome. My name, Zumwalt, that's my last name. It means of the forest. And
Sick.
it's speaking of the Black Forest from like the Austrian Bavarian Schwarzwald, which is the
Right.
Black Forest. So it is that forest that my people came from
Come from, huh?
at some point. Even though you can
That's
trace
badass.
you can trace us here in the United States, I think back to like the late 1700s. So we've been on this island for a while now.
Right. That's badass though, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but so Black Forest, and what's funny is my wife, she's always like, we need to go to the beach. And I'm always like, we're the mountain. We're the mountain.
Yeah.
You know, because
Mountains are more
I'm
my
like
speed.
you, man. I'm like, the beach to me, I'm like, why do I just want to go stand out in the hot sun? Like there's not even a tree to stand on. There's no shade. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sweaty, you know, and you know, like, okay, maybe you have a few drinks, but I'm old now and I can't even drink a whole lot anymore. It just makes me
Right.
sick because I need more
Right.
water because I'm out in the sun. And so, so I'm like,
See one beach, you've seen them all. Really is like, gives a shit. I like freshwater. I like lakes. I like shit. I like rivers. Sure, whatever. Because it's different thing. The ocean. I don't give a fuck.
it's funny,
The
man. Ocean's scarier, that's for sure.
sure. I mean, but whatever. We're all my family. We're all Swedish, but like, I don't want to go fucking row a boat through the ocean. You know what I mean? Like, give a shit. You know. Mountains are more my speed, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you. Brandon, he likes the beaches. Brando loves the beaches.
I like it all, but I do like some beaches.
My girlfriend loves the beach, man. She's fucking Queen Beach. You know what I mean? I said beach.
I love it.
And
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I get it. We have fun, but yeah, mountains for me. Black mountains, naked deer hunting.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, mushrooms.
Sounds pretty metal.
Metal. Yeah,
dude, I love it. Sounds black metal, actually.
Sure.
What is your personal slogan, or what would be your personal slogan?
My personal slogan, like what I use.
Yeah, or just
very
like you're
often.
saying, or I've often worded it said this as like, what would be the title of your autobiography, or
Balls deep.
You say balls deep?
Balls deep. Kreishloff.
Yeah.
Balls deep.
Kreishloff,
That
balls
would
deep.
be
I
it.
like how
Yep.
you did the top rocker, bottom rocker.
Balls deep. Right? And it's got to be in the shape of saggy testicles.
Yeah.
Balls deep. Yeah.
It's the double swoop bottom rocker.
Oh my God, I love it.
Oh man. And see, aren't you sad? We're actually already at the 5th question.
All right. I'm sitting here dreading it. What's it going to be?
All right. So, which is better, a sunset or a sunrise?
Fuck. Sunrise. Because that means I survived the previous day.
It's a good indication, right?
That's a
It's
good
a good
reason
indicator
to like
that
it.
I'm still alive, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll keep playing some metal, you know?
See, I like it from the metal perspective. Now, whenever I wake up and see the sunrise and think to myself, oh, I got to drag my butt into work today, man, the sunset sounds better in that moment. But
100% can't disagree.
I do agree with you in the sense of you know, another day for music. And I've often said that to be great, you have to have, you know, a lot of time in the day to be great. And I think Les Claypool said he practiced for like 7 hours a day, and somebody was like, "How did you practice 7 hours a day?" And he was like, "I had no friends. That's what it took." You know? And so
Yeah.
I'm not advocating no friends. I think friends are great, but I do believe that if you want to be great, you have to work hard to be great. And so,
To be honest, you have to put in all the
and
hours,
if
man.
you attack that day early and you know, you start working early in the day, you got all the time and hang out and party later, right? So you can
I can't.
so
Yeah,
you can
I
wake up
can't tell you
tomorrow and
I can't tell you the last sunrise I've seen. To be honest
I
with
was
you,
going to say, be happy to see the sunrise.
yeah, to see the sun out, right? I mean, because I'm waking up 10:30, 11. Oh, all right, let's go. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I know it's the musician's life too, right? You know, the late
totally,
hours and sometimes burning the candle at both ends, but always at the nighttime end of it, you know,
100%,
always. And
100%.
here's what's funny. I went to what was that show, Brandon? Stabbing. That was Stabbing. I went and have, do you know Stabbing? The death metal
Heard of
band
them?
from
Yeah, yeah.
Houston. They came up to OKC and it was the most insane thing. Because that show ended at like 9:45 and they were the headliner, and I was like walking out of there like feeling like you could still see the sun peeking up, like, you know, and I was just
Right.
like, this is just,
It's
I don't
too
know if
early to end a show.
I've never gotten out of a show so early before, I don't
Yeah,
think, you know, like
2
I don't know
a.m.
what to do.
minimal.
You know, Jeremiah and I are
Yeah.
going to go drive around for 30 minutes because
Should we go
See if
get
you
some
can catch
dinner?
another show.
yeah,
Yeah,
see if we can go
Yeah.
catch
we
another
catch
show.
another
Yeah,
show.
that's right.
Yeah.
Catch another one, man. But well, man, that was that's all the little stupid questions I got. I really have fun with those. Thanks for playing, man. It's
100.
yeah, it always just, you know, makes us smile and laugh just a little bit more. And I love hearing the answers, like balls deep. I mean, we wouldn't have known. We wouldn't have known had we not asked the
You don't
question.
ask,
Yeah.
you don't get.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. A closed mouth doesn't eat.
Right. Or something. Right.
I
Or
messed,
something.
yeah, I
Or
messed that up, but
something.
that's good enough. But man, I am so thankful for, you know, you just taking a little bit. You know, we've been going on past an hour and a half now, so I know it's starting
Totally.
to get late, and so we'll kind of wrap it up. But you know, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
Lecherous Nocturne,
Thanks for having me.
man. We're, you know, everybody out there, I don't think you realize, like we said here in the beginning, these guys have been there since the beginning of technical death metal. And so, really excited to get a chance to hang with you tonight. I know when, what is it, Robbie, you know, you said who does all your social media stuff, you know,
Yeah.
whenever he's always, you know, been so great helping us, get in contact with some awesome bands too. And,
He's a great guy. He does a hell of a
yeah,
job. Yeah.
he's what made,
Absolutely. Hats off to Robbie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
This was
Robbie.
Disgust Media.
Yep, we'll put your info
Yep.
down in with all the other links that we like to put down in the bottom. But man, I've said thank you 100 times. I'll say it for the 101st time. Thank you so much for your time today and just letting us know a little bit of your side and how the band does it and giving us a taste of what's to come. It's super exciting. Everybody out there, check out the tracks. Be on the lookout for the new music. Vile Lust is what we're calling it. And unless they just get a wild hair and change the name on us, that's what it's going to be.
Could happen.
You know,
but tentatively, it's Vile Lust.
you know,
Yeah.
but we're going to share it as such right now and be on the lookout for it. He said end of year 2025, maybe even beginning of year 2026 time period there. But, you know, around Christmas, New Year. So you should be seeing
Yep.
some new music from Lecherous, which will be awesome. So don't miss out. And Brandon, it's all you, buddy.
Thanks, bud. Thank you for joining us. It's awesome getting to know you, meet you tonight. And yeah, I'm looking forward to catching you guys on the road. So hopefully, you know,
Fuck yeah.
sometime next year you guys hit stateside, just kind of make your way around, and looking forward to hanging out in person. So thanks again for coming and hanging out with us.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate your time. Fuck yeah.
All right, everybody out there, don't forget to check out the new stuff. Watch out for the social medias so that you can keep up to date with what's going on, not just with Lecherous, but also other great bands. But be on the lookout for Lecherous. So
And go follow Lecherous Nocturne.
that's right. Go follow them. Metal Block, over and out.